It's time to go live anyway. Maybe my page will go off and I'll have to leave.
I'll go with you. As an observer.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I've heard it. The drainage needs to go. Our water to stand.
Hi, Mitch. Hi, Mitch.
Yes, so this is like the whole package.
Calling the regular meeting of July 16th to order at 5:01 PM. Roll call.
Lassie,
Here.
White,
Here.
Anderson,
All right, I'm off. color.
Hoheisel,
Here.
Lassie.
Here. Pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public input. Do we have any public input today? Seeing none, no public input, last call. We'll move on to additions and or deletions. Do we have any additions or deletions today?
Mr. Mayor, I think we should move new business A and B around. I think they're in the wrong order. I think one might resolve the other one.
Okay. I tend to agree there. We're going to just swap new business A and B. Anything else on additions and deletions? Hearing none, I don't think we have to do any accepting or just swapping that. Consent agenda, approve the minutes of the study session and regular meeting of July 2nd, 2024. Approval of bills and payrolls as audited by the audit committee. Overtime report. Summary of funds, transfer of funds, correspondence, campground occupancy percentages.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by White, second by Lassie to accept consent agenda. Discussion.
Yeah, I just got one thing for Rebecca. The summary of funds, you say the rec and the library first quarter Shouldn't that be third quarter? Or is it the first
No,
quarter?
that's a mistake on my.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just kinda wondering. Because we are in
Yeah.
the
the
third
third
quarter.
quarter.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I have a question on the overtime report. I see that there was a note there, and we couldn't flex because a while back, you said that your contract said you didn't have to flex. Are you flexing now? Is that, or?
I flex when I can flex. So last, for that pay period when I had, the overtime, there was no way I would be able to flex. There was one day where Kirsten and Sarah were gone all day, and then there was also a holiday week. So I was able to flex a little bit for an hour or two, but that was it.
Okay.
And we had multiple meetings that week.
On the flexing,
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question, and it is for Mitch. Mitch, on the regular council meeting, March 21st, and I can send this down to you if you'd like. March 21st, 2023, City Attorney Mitch Brunfeld confirmed that the wording in the union contract states that the council has full authority to change employee scheduling and can require flex hours to accommodate for meeting times without overtime compensation. Then, on April 18th, 2023, it says the city attorney reported to the council that after review of all employee contracts, it is up to the council's discretion whether employees who are required to be at council meetings should flex their schedules or continue to be paid overtime for those meetings. The city attorney also questioned the council table approving the contract. It said something else, but at that point, it said that the city attorney says that it is up to the council's discretion whether employees who are required to be at council meetings should flex their schedule. And then there was a motion. It was moved by Lossing, supported by White, to have employees who are required to be at council meetings flex their schedules weekly according to staff availability and workload to avoid incurring overtime. All the council, it was unanimously approved by the council. Then, on May 2nd, 2024, Councilor Hoheisler spoke regarding employee overtime in the administrative office. It was decided at a previous council meeting that administrative personnel are required to flex their time during the week of previously scheduled council meetings and not take overtime. That was May 2nd. On May 21st, 2024, Council Hoheisel spoke regarding Clerk Treasurer Jagger's overtime from the prior council meeting, and the council required to flex time for previously scheduled meetings. After further discussion with Clerk Treasurer Jagger and Attorney Brunfeld, contract verbiage in Clerk Treasurer Jagger's contract state that she is salaried, non-exempt, and eligible for all incurred overtime. Now, that's the same contract that you reviewed back in, prior to, and you stated that it was at the council's discretion. So I'm kind of confused. Which is it?
It is council discretion. Can you give
I
me the
only got one
minutes, give me the
copy,
minutes
but
of the action item? Because I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
And there were two clerk treasurers at the time.
So I need the action item. Which was that? Was it April?
Let's see here.
This was when the formal action was taken. Yeah, right there. Okay. Okay. Yep. So I can cover this. So yeah. So basically, the council does have management rights to direct staff to flex their schedule in a given week, so that if they are working extra hours on a given day it's typically because of meetings, that that during the course of the remainder of the week, they would flex their schedule to avoid going over 40 hours. But remember now, the meetings are typically the meetings are on Tuesday, so then they have 3 days in that week then to flex, even though they could maybe flex a little bit on Monday and Tuesday in anticipation of working some
The
extra on
meeting's
Tuesday.
anticipated.
But that's where, when the action was taken, let's see, moved by Lossing, supported by White, to have employees who are required to be at council meetings flex their schedules weekly. But then there is a little bit of a flexibility in there, and it is according to staff availability and workload. So while the general directive of this council by action taken is to flex, there is some discretion built in that it is according to staff availability and workload. So it is a directive, but it is not an absolute black and white directive, because the motion that was passed was according to staff availability and workload. So there are going to be weeks that because of if somebody's gone or if you have some sort of a deadline coming up where there is going to be some discretion on behalf of the clerk treasurer and the other staff on if they can flex or not. And I think that's the explanation. So the best way I can summarize it is that is the general directive of the council per formal council action, but it is not an absolute black and white directive, because there might be things come up during the week where they can't flex because of the workload situation or staff shortage. So that's what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then in that case, and that this is why you've noted this.
Mhm.
Okay, I just wanted to clear up that because it kind of bounced both directions there.
I'm gonna ask a point of order. Why wasn't the rest of the council given this information that you're sitting here spewing off? We were not, I didn't get it. Did you get it, Paul? You know, if you're gonna bring something up like that, that should be given to the full council so we could look at it also ahead of time. You know, it looks like you did an investigation on your own, which you're not allowed to by law, looking into something and running your own investigation. You are a part of this council, and we all should have been given that information. Because it looks like, and I'm not saying you did it, I'm just saying, it looks like you spearheaded your own investigation, which one councilor cannot do. Cannot get into an investigation by themselves.
I looked
It has to be
into it,
done.
all I did was look into something that was brought up at a council meeting, at a past council meeting, and then I asked our attorney for an answer to the questions.
And that information should have been given to the full council in our packet, so we could have looked at it ahead of time. You know, I would have liked to have that information, to look at it for myself and decide what, you know, to look at it also. That's my question.
Okay, there's a motion on the table to accept the consent agenda by White and second by
Me.
second by Lassie. Any other discussion on this consent agenda? Roll call?
Lassie,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes,
Hoheisel.
Yes,
Lossing.
Yes. Attorney's report.
nothing to report there.
Thank you. Unfinished business, senior center kitchen usage policy.
It says, in the middle of that paragraph, it's got $200 annually styrofoam cup. I'd like styrofoam changed to disposable, because I hate styrofoam. And the exercise group in the morning, a lot of, especially in this hot weather, come in and get water. And because these phones have water sits in their it, I wouldn't drink it, it's awful. And then you were saying 2 keys, well, Ed and I can't always be there. So, we need to work out something on those days when we can't be there. And I guess that's.
City staff would have a key, I would think.
Yeah, but like my Wednesday night group, they meet at 6.
Oh.
And I can give them a key to get in the senior rooms, maybe the door could be left open that evening. And like for the Lions, if I can't be there, John would be a good one to have access to the kitchen. It's not that we want everybody in town, we know what happens then, but just a little flexibility is all. Thank you.
Does it say one?
It's option 2. She's talking about.
So were you good with option 1 then?
I don't have a word.
It says two.
Well, 1 doesn't have all that stuff that you don't want in it. Yeah.
Okay, and option 2, it's got, the styrofoam cups, and I personally just despise styrofoam cups.
Bernice, I think I missed something here, because the first paragraph says 2 members designated with administrative personnel shall have access to the facilities, including keys or lock codes. Does that mean more than 1 key? Keys?
So, well, for 2 people, we do have the lock codes for the
Okay.
door, so,
I mean, so,
I don't know, it's up to you, and if you want 1 key, 2 keys, 1
well,
access
just the
code.
way it reads, it does say including keys.
Yeah, we don't want any keys. We just want them to have
No,
the
it's
code.
Just the code, yeah.
Okay.
We weren't sure what, at that point, what we were getting.
Because if we have issues, we can change the code and not have to go and
Right.
rechange the locks.
When the code is entered, we can see who is.
So are 2 personnel gonna have codes? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah,
Because
you-
it says
you
2,
Right, we can have.
option 1 says members designate, 2 members designated with administrative personnel shall have access to the facilities, including keys and or lock codes.
I would think each should have a code, because then we can see which code is whose and who's going into the kitchen,
Oh, sure.
so,
Oh, you
We
can
can
do that.
keep-
You have 2 different codes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
so.
I like that.
So the way I'm understanding it is if let's say the 2 people designated are you and Ed, or whoever the 2 people designated, the office staff is gonna give you each a code. The codes will be different. You'll have your own code
To the kitchen.
to the kitchen. Right. So
Um,
I guess I don't know what you were about needing 2 keys.
Like if we're gonna have a Lions meeting, it'd be nice if John could get into the kitchen. He probably won't do any cooking in there, but like if they have pizza, but we need to get for coffee and
I think if they coordinate that with the office, we can make a specific
you'll
code
make
or
it work.
something like that, we'll make
We
it
can
work.
also program like codes to only be available at certain times or on a certain day too.
Right.
So as long as the meeting, whether it be the Lions or something else, is coordinated with the office, what I'm hearing is they're gonna accommodate you. Okay?
I just wanted to get it clarified.
Yeah, no, that's good. So the biggest thing is that you know ahead of time what your desires are, that you ask ahead of time, because once these guys go home, then it's too late.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't
so,
wanna call it 6 o'clock.
well, I'm just saying, it's just gonna take a little bit more coordination, that's all. So back to Joe's question. Do you want to ask?
I was just curious what you guys, we got 2 policies to vote on as a council. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. It's affecting you guys. So I'd just like your opinions on which one you prefer. They seem to be a little bit different in verbiage and have some extra stuff in there, like to accommodate for morning coffee, regular social gatherings, the stuff that you read. The other one doesn't have that in it. So I was just curious what you wanted to see happen what you would like us to vote for.
Well, if we have access to the kitchen to get water for our coffee and clean our pots out afterward, then we don't need the, other than to get. That would be a given. It wouldn't have to be in there, like she scratched out. But, we like the idea of $200 a year for disposable stuff.
Okay, so you're in favor of option 2 then?
Huh?
You're in favor of option 2 then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Thank you.
Have any of your other members that are with you on this had a chance to look at this, Bernice?
Yeah,
Okay, so you guys are unanimously, this is what
basically,
they're on board with what you say?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's with option 2, Bernice,
Yeah,
and changing the word styrofoam to disposable.
yes. It's just a little thing, but
Okay.
we know how wording can be.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion that we go ahead and adopt option 2 with the word changing from styrofoam to disposable cups.
Second. Motion by White, second by Hoheisel. To adopt option number 2 for senior center kitchen usage policy with a change in the verbiage from styrofoam to disposable cups. Any other discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on, committee reports. Public Works Committee recommendations.
So as you guys approved, the city went ahead and had a auction on surplus equipment, some of the things that we were looking to sell and upgrade. The auction absolutely knocked it out of the park. We came in several $1,000s higher than the minimums that we were hoping to get. So we did very good there. The street committee opted to go ahead and put the 1993 Ford backhoe and the old trailer on the auction to go ahead and prepare to order the excavator that's been in the works for the last couple of years. So we've met since the auction, looked at several options for excavators, pricing, got the state bid and Sourcewell pricing on all of them. And the recommendation was to purchase the Volvo excavator with the extra ditching bucket in the amount of $79,000. 79, whatever the.
392.
392, yeah.
And then to go along with that, a trailer that's large enough to carry it. We actually sold 2 trailers. We sold a defunct trailer that's been parked over 20 years. That brought almost $1,000, unbelievably. I thought it was just scrap. And the other trailer brought a good price at $2,500. That trailer was too light to carry equipment like this. So the best price on a trailer that we can get is the 8-foot tilt deck from Wittes for $89, whatever the number was on that.
Selling $82.95?
$82.95. So the recommendation of the committee was to go ahead and move forward with those. Recommend to the council to purchase those. Of that, $37,500 will come from the cemetery fund, which is money that we bring in for digging the graves and things of that nature. So the cemetery will be covering a portion of that, as it's one of its primary duties. And then the auction funds that we are receiving in the street equipment fund will cover the remainder.
What was do you know the auction amount off hand that's contributing to?
We haven't got the total tally from the auction house yet.
Right.
So, because there's some fees and things associated, there's a couple of small items that didn't get picked up, so I don't have any exact.
And then the difference is coming from your regular equipment fund.
Yep.
And the fund totals, if you're interested, are on that summary of funds.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and go with the bid for the Volvo at $70,993.92, and also the trailer at $8,295.
Second,
Motion by Anderson, second by Hoheisel to have public works go ahead and purchase the Volvo mini excavator and the trailer to haul it from Witters Trailers. Discussion? What did you ditch out there with, Tony? It looks good. What did you ditch on the conservation club?
The loader.
The loader. It looks really good. It looks like it will be effective.
Joe spent some time on that. It
Yeah.
worked out well. And it actually lowered the water level immediately.
You can see it's going the right direction now, so that's good.
We can't hear you guys, Mayor.
What's that?
We can't hear you guys.
Just better speak up. I had just asked Tony if anybody's drove down the Conservation Club road lately. The water was coming over the road after the big storm quite a bit. The golf course was flooded. And I drove out there the other day and they had taken the loader and they'd really put a nice sized ditch on the south side of the road. And it looks really good. And the water is flowing down that ditch and it's relieving the problem. So it looks real good. So I was wondering what they dug it. I knew they didn't dig it with a shovel, so no, it looks good. It looks really good. So that's what I said there.
See what we missed?
Well, that was important.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Lassie,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hoheisel.
yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Okay. We swapped A and B around in new business, so we're going to talk about the next item on the agenda will be clerk treasurer wages.
When I made the motion to suspend her probation period, I should have at that time put it down that when we stopped that she went to 100%. I did not make that motion. That is my fault that I did not. But in the past, when we've taken somebody off of probation, they've automatically then bumped up to 100%. But it is my fault that I did not clarify that night that it was 100%. And so I'll take the responsibility of that part of it. It is up to the council whether or not we do that or not. But again, I did not make that in that motion. Just thinking that we've always done it in the past, whenever we've taken somebody off of the probationary period, it's been past practice that it automatically went up to 100%. But it still has to be a directive of the council, and we did not do that. So just to clarify, that was my mistake at that time for not doing it and making sure that it was clarified. And I think Jim seconded the motion on that. I don't think he caught it either.
No,
that-
we didn't consider it.
Yeah, and I never considered it, so.
For example, who did we take off probationary period and then automatically went to 100%?
So, they're different because they're under their own contract. However, the contracted department heads in the city don't start at 90% at all. They start at 100% for department heads. So So
Who starts at 100%?
department heads, Union 320.
Union department.
Union 320,
Okay,
department heads.
correct.
So historically, I don't know what you've done with administrators, clerk treasurers in the past, but they were Union 320 at one time. So there is no prerequisite to this particular situation, I guess.
Like,
I would say that it's most closely associated with department heads that start at 100%.
Well, in the contract, in the contract that all the girls have in the office, and these other girls here have had to wait out the whole full year. What, 1 minute, Terry, let me finish. It states that 100% will be, it states the date, November 27th, 2024, which is 1 full year afterwards. It doesn't say anything about 100% after the probationary period. It doesn't mention the probationary period.
If that's under that contract,
It's right here. Everybody here has access to it.
Pardon me, Mayor, I can give you history on that
Okay,
if you're looking for it.
you, go ahead, Terry.
Patrolmen in the past, when I would go to the council, for the 20 years I was chief, and asked that their probation be ended early, it was always included in the motion that had specifically say that their rate of pay would be at full pay. And that's what normally was done.
I think that Troy Bissonnette, if I'm not mistaken,
he went to 100%, but he was already here for 3 years and worked as an officer.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, thank you
But
for
when
that.
he gets promoted up, yeah, you automatically get 100%. Just like Tony, you work
No, I
as
appreciate it, thank you.
street laborer and then you went up to supervisor. You automatically get 100%. Chucky Shenlob, same way. He worked down below and then he got promoted to supervisor, 100%.
I haven't
I see
read
that.
their contract. I don't know what that
No,
looks like.
It's,
I'd like to hear what Elaine has to say. Well, how did that work for you as a past clerk treasurer? Did you guys, is it a historical thing where you wait the 12 months or did you guys?
I don't even remember because I retired over 20 years ago now.
Okay.
So I don't know.
but
And your employees weren't on probation. The ladies that work in the office, they even have a probation period.
But
We didn't have contracts either.
Yeah.
I was not under contract.
so,
The reason that this is here is I walked into Rebecca's office on Monday. I asked her straight up, did you give yourself 100% pay raise without the council's approval? She said, yes. I said, you can't do that. We have to talk about it. And that's why we're here talking about it.
And that's why I said I made the mistake of not clarifying it that night when I took her off of probation. So
well,
if there was mistrued on that part and she went ahead and did it, the easy fix is for the next 2 months or whatever it is, or 2 pay periods, she goes back to her 90% and just clear it up and be done with it. And that, because we're talking 2 pay periods that she got paid 100%. So the easiest
well, I
way,
think,
easiest way to do it is just turn around
And during my contract negotiations, I had questions about, how the 100% worked versus the 90%. And I was told that when my probationary period would come up, that would be discussed, because it can end at any time. I was
right,
told.
I'll quote Glenn, I listened to it last night.
Yep.
And Glenn said, if you're doing a good job, we could move you to 100%. That's verbatim, that's exactly what Glenn said.
I didn't qualify it, so.
So, but the problem I have with it is this information before you gave yourself 100% was there, Rebecca. You have quoted stuff out of this contract of yours more than one time. And it says right here, the answer was in here for you. not only was the answer here, you could have talked to the council, and I believe you probably could have got information from your two coworkers that would have told you that, that you can't do that.
Well, the previous clerk and admin assistant were at 100% right from the beginning also. So,
That
and
was,
if
that was,
if I
that was at the
misunderstood,
discretion of the other
I
council.
apologize.
That was at the discretion by vote.
Kathy Braub got promoted. She started as Kirsten's job, then she went into the public utilities area, and then from there, we promoted her to city clerk
At 100%.
at 100%.
It wasn't specified in the minutes.
No, it wasn't.
For her either.
So would 2 pay periods bring you back to even at 90%?
Yeah,
I mean, deduction of pay, I mean, I don't know, I haven't seen the numbers.
Mhm.
I'd like to see the numbers.
Who had them? It was sent.
It was emailed to us all.
They were,
They were emailed to us.
yeah, it's on a different email.
It's like 900 and something dollars total.
967.03.
As long as we're talking about something that just in the contract and for clarity, that requires, requires a vote by council or council approval. That compensation was item number 6. Item number 7 is personal development. All training, conferences, subscriptions, meetings, and professional dues must first be approved by the city council in the same manner as for other city employees, and that's in your contract. I don't remember you coming to us before the summit, the housing summit.
yeah, you gave permission to
All of
everyone.
us.
Yeah,
We were all given permission, to any one of us that wanted to go to the summit.
That was for the council members, wasn't it? Okay, well,
Oh,
alright. You gotta remember, when they leave, they're leaving their job for the day.
yeah, well, when we went to the housing summit is for the city and not having our
I think
administration staff.
what I just
There
read,
is-
what I just read here, Glenn, says
It was,
They
it
get
was offered
permission.
to anybody on the council. that
it's
year.
not that way in the minutes of the meeting. No, it wasn't. If you go back and look, I wouldn't have brought this up if I wouldn't have looked it up first. It's just for further information, for further in the future, so Becky knows that all you have to do is ask. You probably will never get denied. It's just a procedure. That's all it is.
So what is
Yes,
your
Kirsten.
motion, Paul?
What's that?
What is your motion? How do you want to see it handled?
Kirsten, did you have a question?
I feel like A and B kind of interject here, and the reason why I brought this up is I've been thinking of this for a while. Since I've been hired, I did my full year at the 90% wages, but since then, the previous clerk treasurer began her position at 100% wages, even though the policy states any appointments to new positions will begin at 90%. So clerk treasurer prior to Becky started at 100%. A supervisor, Caitlin, got bumped to 100%.
That's contract.
Yep, and then also Joe Turner, he was offered the position at 100%. I never got a probationary review. So that's why this all came up. Sarah and myself never got a probationary review or taken off probation. We were never told it could be reviewed again. We missed that. So I think, it's not just that she necessarily, Kathy Broad did start at 100%, right, when she moved into that position. She also got 100% waived while she was in my position prior to the year mark. So that's where I'm coming from with this. And when it initially got brought up for Caitlin, it was said it should be fair for everyone. We've been doing a great job in the office since it was such a time difference between when we got hired and she did. That's why I got stopped there. And I just was asking for reconsideration, being that it was stated before that it should be across the board.
To me, it looks like we've been too all over the map with no consistency. And like when Kathy Varall was moved into the clerk treasurer position, because I look back on May 24th of 2022 at the council minutes, and that's how the motion was made. They moved her from your position to being a clerk treasurer at full pay. You know, so they did it by we have to decide here whether we have policies that we're gonna follow, or we're only gonna follow these policies when it's convenient to certain situations, or which is wrong. If it's a policy, we should be following it all the time, which unfortunately isn't fair to people like you that and Sarah, and there's been others along the way that didn't get the same treatment. So
What does the contract say for the assistant? Is he gonna be at 90%?
Yeah, But you
Why
guys-
did Joe Turner,
you guys had decided, because we'd had such a hard time hiring someone, you guys had voted to hire him at 100. And I'm all for my coworkers getting 100%, but I want to remind you, I fought pretty hard to get my 100%. I had to come before you guys and all that and go to my union. I think we had at least 2 meetings about it. It wasn't offered to me, so I don't want you to think that, but I'm all for my coworkers getting it as well.
And I want to remind the council, I brought it to the council the night to offer it to Caitlin to get it back, and I also offered to the two staff that they would, yes, they wouldn't have got the whole thing back, they would have had 2 months taken off of their probationary period and paid. But because there was such a hassle that night, go back and look, I withdrew my motion and said, forget it, this is gonna be just a fight between everybody, it wasn't gonna go anywhere. So I withdrew that motion, and we did not vote on Caitlin or the office staff that night. We just dropped the whole thing because it ended up being just a problem.
all right, with that, I make a motion that Rebecca Jaeger repay the amount of,
Kirsten has the amount.
it's right there.
It's right here, $967.03.
To make whole and still at the 90% wage until further notice.
Do I hear a second? I will second that.
What does further notice mean, Paul, until we end? Or further notice is rather vague.
Further notice until her time is up,
Till
or 90% on, according to the contract.
till the date is effective November 27th, 2024. So motion on the table by Hoheisel, second by Lossing, to have clerk treasurer Jagger pay the $967.03 back and remain on 90% until November 27th, 2024.
Did you have something to add?
Yeah, just one point too on the amount to be repaid, just as far as the process for that. So you basically, essentially what the city's saying is because of whatever happened, whether it was a misunderstanding or however you're gonna, I know there's different opinions on how it happened, but I think the city council is now claiming that amount owed from Rebecca back to the city is a debt owed to the city. So just be aware by way of process, you cannot deduct that from her wages. The only way that you could actually deduct that from her wages is she actually would have to sign a written consent, consenting the city to deduct that from her wages. Because there is a state statute in Minnesota that if an employer claims that there's a debt owed by an employee, the employer cannot just unilaterally decide to deduct that debt from employees' wages. The only way that can be done is if the employee signs a specific written consent allowing the deduction. Just so you're aware of that.
Or they still paying.
Yeah, I mean, the employee can just pay it. The employee can just write a check back to the city to
I guess
pay
that
it.
would
But
be-
what you can't do, what I'm saying is it's a payroll issue. State law prohibits you from just deciding to just withhold it from her paycheck. You can't do that unless she consents to it.
So you're comfortable with just writing a check?
I was just ready to check.
Okay, so that's solved that.
Well, we still got to vote on it.
Yes. So a motion on the table as I spoke. By Hoheisel, second by Lossing, to have Rebecca Jagger, the treasurer, repay back $967, and effectively November 27, 2024, will go to 100% wage. Discussion. Discussion? Roll call?
Lassie,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Okay. Now to item B. Any other discussion on this administrative assistant back pay?
I'd just like to say, Kirsten, I do think that you're one heck of a good worker. You really are. You're a treasure to the city. I fought early on when Caitlin for you to get you and Sarah both to be promoted. It didn't work out, but I have to agree with the mayor's comment. We are trying to set standards here, and we need to be fair across the board going forward. So I just wanted you to hear it from me when I vote no on your request as well. But that's why. It's not because I don't think you deserve it. We have to stick to a policy at some point in time and start following it.
Same thing for me. You're bubbly, you're a good worker, you're an asset to the city.
You go above and beyond.
As a member of the public, I agree. I just wish we would have done it when we looked at Caitlin. We should have done it then. Like I say, it turned into a little S show. And we dropped it that night. And we shouldn't have, but we did.
And part of, I just would like to say to it, I mean, I reviewed all the documents pertaining to this. Part of the problem you have is you have this personnel policy, which is kind of useless because most of your employees are all under contract. So basically the contract language, whether it's the union contracts, the collective bargaining agreements, or for your employees who have individual employment contracts, the contracts supersede anything. You have to follow the contracts. And so then you have this personnel policy that's existed out there for some time here in the city that some of the provisions of the personnel policy are conflicting or ambiguous as they might relate to the contract language, and then you're not really quite sure which one you're following. So, I mean, realistically, you could just scrap that personnel policy. It might be something the personnel committee might want to look at some point because it's pretty much useless because you have contracts here that cover the terms and conditions of employment. So I think that's also a source of a lot of confusion and the inconsistencies that you've seen here over the last number of years on these types of issues.
Does it have value? Are all of our employees under contract?
No.
Like the assistant, like Caitlin's assistant, that job is under contract, is it?
It is.
Oh, that is a union job,
There
yes.
are other positions in the city that would be covered under the
Personnel policy, yeah.
There's not many though.
Not many.
No. I wouldn't get it away all the way, but I
Yeah.
would say.
Maybe we
that
can
the
look at it
contract
and
super-
chop it
for
up a little
sure.
bit.
We've already started doing that,
Yeah.
making notes.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on. Arena compressor project.
Yeah, first of all, I want to apologize. This should be under committee reports. I think it must have been a miscommunication between me and the office. Because it is a recommendation from the rec board. So it should have been under committee reports. My bad.
It's okay.
It could have been.
Caitlin, you want to use that?
What-
Do you wanna use my
you want me
phone?
to come up?
Sure.
Why?
That's 2 in 1 day.
So we're basically, you should have the letter in your packet. We're asking for permission to move forward with the ammonia system and get the funds that were awarded to us from IRRB so that we can get the engineer on board and start coming up with drawings.
I just want to make a comment as on the committee with Caitlin that the prices that are in front of you were high estimations, like for the 2025, if we did it right, if we approved for her to go look out, That's what they're saying. He went high on it. We don't know what the contractor. So she's asking for permission to start getting the contractor so she can come back to the council with the actual price. And the engineering company believes that'll be close to 300,000 less than what's listed on here.
I
So
think his
before
exact
everybody,
Numbers were 20%, it could, then he goes up about 20%, he expects it to come down during the bidding process.
so she's not asking you for 1.6 or 7 million. She's asking you for permission to move forward to get those quotes to come back
And
to us.
this will help you prepared for IRRB when they,
Yep,
I'll make a
I do
motion.
wanna be transparent though, first, before you go, that, cause I don't have the minutes in the report, there was one day when we voted for it, and that was simply because, they thought we could cut the engineers out, and turns out we can't do that.
No, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we authorize Caitlin to move forward with an engineering group.
I'll second that motion.
motion by Anderson, second by White, to have the recreation coordinator, Caitlin, move forward with the engineering group on the arena compressor system.
Where is this engineering outfit out of?
It's B32 Engineering Group, and they're out of Wisconsin, and they are pretty much the go-to for all of Minnesota, like any rink in Minnesota, they're the guys, yep.
I will say White Lakes is going through the same thing we're going through right now. They're using the same engineering group and they picked the same system that we picked. And I will say a little bit about that system, just a little bit of an education is ammonia, like you all know how much we had to set aside for the R22 that we're using right now was $100 and some a pound.
It was $98.
$98 a pound. In somewhere in this, right here, on this very first page, last but not least, the cost of refrigerating is currently at $2 a pound for ammonia. Ammonia is a natural refrigerant. It's not one that in 10 or 15 or 20 years, they're going to ban off the market. It's been there forever. Some of these other ones that the systems that were the other choices had refrigerants that could be getting chopped in the future.
Yeah.
So we should be safe not to have to adapt and do more changes down the road. And the efficiency of this system is it's the most efficient system out of like the four that we looked at. So
20 to 25% better than what we're currently using.
Yeah.
And the other options were refrigerants, and it's my understanding from the engineer report that the refrigerant landscape is constantly facing restrictions, and then so they'll be changing. So if we went with any of the other options, there was a good chance that in 5-10 years we'd be in the same boat we're in right now. So, yeah.
good work.
Yeah.
Good work, Caitlin.
Caitlin, is it my understanding we do have funds available right at this point in time?
We were granted 1.5 million from Hochschild in the bill,
Yep.
and so it's sitting at IRRB waiting for our plans to get the money, and then so me and Becky will be working together to put together the plans, present them to IRRB, and then we can get the engineering group to start the drawings.
No, if the costs exceed this, will the IRRB perhaps help us out a little bit?
I've been told no.
This was through that tax bill, through
This is through the,
legislation.
yeah, this is through the tax bill,
Yeah.
so it's,
Not really from IRRB, but they're the ones where.
It was in the omnibus bill.
But there was, in the letter, there is some other sources the engineer wanted me to include. The Mighty Ducks does not have funding at the moment, but I think that the engineers will be pretty helpful in the other ones. There's rebate programs and stuff like that to help fill that gap.
So you anticipate there should be no tax to the or additional fees to the taxpayer at this time?
If we're going by the engineer's estimated costs, I think that we are safe, especially since he estimated up, but I can't guarantee that there won't be additional costs. I don't know.
Should be fairly
Yeah.
minimal
Okay.
according to the if there is, it should be fairly minimal.
And then would this thing reduce operating costs of the arena eventually?
In quite a few different ways. The
So-
cost of the refrigerant is not even a fraction of what we're paying right now. The efficiency, the maintenance on the cooling towers and such will be eliminated. It will, in many ways, save money.
So there'd be a substantial savings to us in the long run.
Absolutely, yeah.
20 to 25% more efficient.
Good, that's all I just need to know.
Yeah.
In
Should
case
be-
somebody asks.
Oh, absolutely. And they will.
Yeah.
They'll be asking.
Yeah, they will.
Okay,
Thanks, Caitlin.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need a vote.
Motion on the table by Anderson, second by White, to have Caitlin go forward with the engineering group on the new compressor system. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Lassie,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Item D, permission for clerk treasurer and deputy clerk treasurer to attend Clerks Academy in Staples.
I'll move we allow their attendance.
I'll second it.
Expenses.
What is the date?
September
12 and 13.
It's probably,
12 and 13, yeah.
whatever. Okay. Motion by Lassie, seconded by, what's the second, White? To get the clerk and the clerk treasurer off to Clerks Academy in Staples on September 12th. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Costs money.
Oh, cost money. Roll call.
Lassie.
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hoheisel.
Yes,
Lossing.
Yes.
as long as there's enough in that account to pay for it.
That is for that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. E, bid is life jacket loaner box project donations. In front of us, we have a list of the donators, what they're doing, and if it's been completed. And I'm just gonna go down it for recognition purposes to these businesses and stuff that have put forward for this. First of all, the Babbitt School, I'm sure the shop class run by Mr. Lindsay is building the boxes. Ely Blumenson Community Hospital is helping with materials, or life jackets, 150 at $20 a piece. Pohaki Lumber, materials, treated lumber for all the boxes. Fireman Relief of Tower is donating $1,000. Rod and Gun Club, is that does anybody know which Rod and Gun Club that is? Well, they're donating $1,000 also. I think I'm assuming that might be Ely Rod and Gun Club. Ours is the Conservation Club, but Lutheran Church of Good Shepherd, $400 donation. Babbitt Golf Association, a $500 donation. Cannon Industrial Materials, up to $867.87. Matt Littler is donating time and the Beta logo. J. Foltz Contracting is voting time building the boxes. And Dirty Dog Manufacturing is giving a discount on the printing of the logo, I'm assuming that Matt is designing. So kudos to everybody. This is such a great, I think Rebecca Littler was the one that brought this forward to us and was spearheading this, and just a really great thing for our community. And so kudos to all these people that stepped up and donated time and money, and to the people that have been pushing this along. So
Do we need to have
Yeah.
a motion to
Accept the donations. Yep.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to accept the donations for the life jacket loaner box.
Second.
Second by Lassie. Motion by Lossing, second by Lassie to accept donations. Any other discussion? So Betas, is it Babbitt Ely Tower? Something Sedan? Anyway, I was just wondering what that acronym stands for. But, any other discussion?
It's probably
Roll call.
Babbitt, Ely, Tower, Aurora. It's
Well,
probably
could
what
be
it
Aurora.
is. Yeah, I think it's what it is.
Lassie,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hoheisel.
Yes,
Lossing.
Yes. Jim Zupacic, west side of Babbitt flooding. Come on up, Jim.
I live in Locust Street, and after the rain, and this has done this several times to the people who live across the street from me. For some reason, and this has happened over, I've had it happen in my house 3 times, but across the street from me with Denise's house and Kirsten's house and 6 others are flooding. The problem is whoever designed that block, the water does not drain anymore. It holds right in the front of the houses, they're all flooding right now, and the water doesn't drain. And the way it's set up right now, and I talked to Tony about it earlier, that water should be draining into Fountain Hills Park. Because right now, water doesn't drain uphill and go into the river like it's supposed to. And I think the biggest fix of that would be to put a culvert on the corner of Babbitt Drive and Locust Street and run that water into Fountain Hills. Now, everybody on that block lost everything they had in their basement. We lost our brand new basement. Person just put a brand new basement in. Bernice lost furniture, everything, dumpsters with the stuff in the basement. And that water holds in the ditches, and it's as high as the ditches until it goes down. When that water goes down, that's when all our basements start to fill full. The water needs to, you gotta get we need to get an engineer firm up here to figure out why that water hangs in front of our house. In the springtime, it happens also. When the snow melts, the water's right up to the streets, right up to our houses, it goes nowhere. So I think the best fix for that is, and if you get an engineer involved in this, which I think you have to, I mean, these people lost $40,000-$50,000 worth of basement. By the time you rip the walls out, the brand new carpeting and everything. And the sad thing is, there were 6 houses I know were flooded bad. We didn't flood until the water went down, and ours wasn't a flood, ours was a trickle compared to the neighbors. What'd you have, maybe 6
I
inches?
had about 6 inches.
6 inches, Kirsten, stump pumps, everything going up. The back water didn't bother us at all. All that water that came in, every one of those houses on Locust Street came in from the front ditch area. So none of it came from behind the houses. It was all the ditch area. And water does not go uphill. And that's what the biggest issue is here. So I don't know who's responsible for this. Our insurance companies told us it's not their responsibility, so we're not covered. I know the city of Virginia had an issue. I talked to an attorney today. This needs to be repaired, so we need to know who's responsible for this water. Yeah, it was a huge rain, but how many times have you've never had one?
This is the first time I.
But Kirsten's house and the neighbor, I feel so sorry for a former employee is he still working for North Shore Mine? His house, it was pouring into his house, just pouring into the basement of his house. So if somebody can if you guys are pleased, get some type of engineer firm or contracting firm and look into it, because you just can't do it. We lost probably with all 6 houses, probably $200,000 worth of goods. I mean, it was bad. I feel sorry for Bernice. She had a dumpster. I mean, there were dumpsters everywhere. All the carpet got torn out everywhere. It was really bad. And it's not coming from the back, pond and back, I don't think, because the water was right up to the garage in the back of these people's house. It all came in through the front.
Can I give you a little history on, I'll come share the mic with you, Jim. Elaine was clerk treasurer last time this happened. I didn't get, but my neighbors did. And she worked her butt off. She was calling the DNR and everything to get permission. She hired somebody to trap the beaver back there. Roger Week was back there getting rid of the beaver dam. We were working with Wausau and Embarrass, because if you look back by the bus garage, those ditches all the way back were full. My house is here, Kirsten's is here, then it's Bird's house, and there is a culvert that goes from block to block back toward the bus garage, and that wasn't doing it because everything was backed up. They did get, and the county helped us, we got a hold of Army Corps of Engineers, and they said, yeah, that whole Embarrass River, the headwaters are behind the school, needed to be ditched out again. It had been ditched out by the CCCers, what was that, 1930s?
Yeah.
By hand, you could see where that had been done. But they ran out of money before they got there, but I'm sure Elaine remembers. She worked hard, Roger worked hard, Terry isn't here, so I can't ask him if the police department worked on, but it's a mess over there, and that water just isn't draining away.
It stays in front of the houses. It doesn't drain to where I think it may have been designed to go into the ditches you're talking.
Yeah.
It stays in front of our house until finally it goes through the ground, and about a day later, then I'll help broke loose in all these houses
And
and
I
start filling
think
up.
the street department might have blasted the beaver dam in the spring. I don't know if you got back there again. But if we can't keep the water from flowing back there, it just gets higher. And if you wanna have a subdivision out on the west end, that water table, tell them don't put in a basement.
I could be able to sell that.
Excuse me. Tony, have you've been what's going on in the region, right, with all this stuff that's happening and stuff? There was like organization and it's a place that people could report damage to and communities could report damage to. Have you been in contact with any of that within your work at all?
No,
Okay,
we haven't reported,
okay. Cause like the work you're doing right now, ditching that road out
We're
and stuff,
keeping
some of that
track.
might be eligible for
Yeah.
some funding,
right, so
right?
I'm
Keeping
keeping
track.
track of everything that
Right.
we've been investing into this already.
Yep.
And I've been in contact with the DNR, Brian Felt, out of the
Right.
tower office, and he's working on some things for me right now.
I guess where I'm going with it, and probably we gotta get Chuck, the PUC probably needs to be involved in this, but to see if there's anything that, that organization can help with. I don't know if they're helping individual families with problems that happened or not, but at least all the stuff that we have to do to fix the problem.
Doesn't the city own all the ditches?
Right.
So we have an obligation to get the water flowing,
City
right?
ditching, so my immediate concern, you're not wrong, there's water standing in the ditch in front of your house, but I believe that entire ground from back there by the bus garage to in front of your house is that saturated.
I know.
But the water in front of our homes does not go that way. It stays there until it's gone. Every time it rains, it never drains.
Right.
So what's happening is where you turn in from Babbitt Drive and turn onto Locust Street, right there, there is no culvert that goes anywhere. That's the beginning of that ditch. And it goes all the way through to where you say over by the bus garages. That water can't flow uphill. There's probably a 3-foot grade from where that is up to there. It's flowing the wrong way. What you need to do is put a culvert on that corner and run it into
But Jim,
Fountain Hills Park, where 90% of the water in this community goes into Fountain Hills Park.
but if you notice, Beck's didn't have water in their basement and the ditch in front of their place didn't have water sitting in it. And
Because
it got,
dead
as
ends.
you went down toward Kristen's, it got deeper and deeper.
Yeah, but it dead ends right there, and we're it's like a slough hole right there on both sides of the streets. And that's the only place in town where everybody really got their basements filled. I don't know how it goes beyond that. Is it Mulberry further on? They were.
Yeah, well, it's definitely wet over there too.
But I mean,
That's definitely.
that
flowing
water
right into
never,
their
ever
backyard.
drains. If you go there in the spring after the thaw, you'll see the waters even with the sidewalk in front of my house and the street, and it's even and it doesn't go away. When it does go, then you can ask her neighbor, that's when he gets it.
Something needs to be surveyed there for sure.
It should run into Fountain Hills Park. All you have to do is start a culvert, I would think, and I'm not an engineer. I think I know everything in trails.
So that's what I'm saying, we need some kind of elevation survey on that to come up with a decent solution.
If you could, please, because I feel sorry for these young kids. We got 6 people in our neighborhood and 3 of them are young families with young children, and they lost all their basements. It's just sad.
And-
So this is probably is this more of a PUC thing than your
No.
department, Tony?
No,
or
the
is this-
PUC has nothing to do with
Nothing.
it.
Oh. Okay.
PUC has to do with water that's inside.
Gets
the pipe.
there. Okay, gotcha.
And we worked with Wausau and Embarrass townships then, and we thought we were getting somewhere, and then Army Corps of Engineers says, we ran out of money.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, I
So
think-
I've been been out in a canoe and swamping several days, since it's rained, trying to identify our issue. And I know that we have several feet of elevation just to Taliego's house in Benda. So if we can get the water to get that far, we should be good, because it's not gonna back up into us. We're backed up right in Hay Lake, Mud Lake, right behind the conservation club there somewhere behind the golf course.
Because at that time Dick Rosette was coming in, he used to have pasture land. Now he had water land with a beaver hut in the middle of it.
Right, so there's a lot of other downstream issues too, which is why we started at Taliego's and started working our way up. And trying to mitigate some of that, but I haven't identified all of the issues. But I
That
do know
water
that there's
isn't
a
affecting
major
us.
project that needs to happen on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe there's something that we need to look at yours as well, that's.
That drainage isn't affecting us. The backside isn't affecting us, it's coming from the street itself on both the streets where the ditches are. Because we're full, they were full right to the top, and as soon as it drains, everybody's got water in their basement.
So I guess what I'm suggesting on that though is the water that was in the ditch behind Kirsten's house is the same elevation as Hay Lake is.
Yeah.
And so my concern is that all that ground is saturated.
The water never
to that-
came in from the back of the
to that
houses,
level.
it came in from the front of the houses. All the water came in from Locust Street side, from those ditches there, that's where all the water came in.
Of my back lot and Kirsten's back lot, we had a swimming hole.
But the water didn't come in that way, did it? From the
No.
back, no.
My daughter, when she got the basement empty, I ended up in the hospital. She noticed it was still seeping in my north wall.
Well, this Friday, we got, SCH sitting down for the West Babbage Development. We have a meeting coming up. And I do think this council should address Jason to see if he'll come in, take a look at it. And maybe
I'll make
your
myself
culvert
available.
is the ticket to go across and at least drain it into Fulton Hills
Yeah.
Park.
There's no
Part of
culvert
it,
there, no dead ends.
right, we'll put one in there.
Yeah, if you do that.
If SCH says we can. You know,
He
if
gets-
that's gonna direct it. I know the lift station for the public utilities is just on the other side of that little creek behind the school there. That's 30 feet in the ground and there's not one drop of water in there. So it's from that creek going all the way to your guys' house and out towards Hay Lake.
But I don't think it
That's-
comes from the backside, honestly. I think it's everything that rained and filled that tree.
Yeah, fill that ditch and everything up.
Yeah,
Thank
one
you.
of the bus-
We will take a look at it.
I'll
I
make
guess,
myself available if I can explain to him myself if we like come over.
I think your wife's got it. She'll be there.
She's on.
It sounds like there could be two situations possibly, but the one you're working on, Tony, when you and Glenn and I were sitting down the other day, and I think Glenn was spot on about, I don't know the money that's available right now with additional money out to communities that are having problems. If we could get money in advance to fix our problem, that would be to clean all those ditches out all the way out, and then possibly ditch between hay and mud, and that, if the DNR.
Well, which is exactly what needs to be done, but that's a couple
Huge
$1 million project.
Well, yeah.
When I went to the ISIS board meeting to talk about something else, and I mentioned Babbitt also, and Ida hadn't even heard that Babbitt had gotten anything, so if you let everyone know, like whatever the funds might be, if you don't let them know that you've had issues, they won't know that you need money for that, so there might be additional, or just put your name on the radar or whatever. Because
Right.
if FEMA money comes, it's gonna be divided up and all that kind of stuff, it's loaded as a whatever natural disaster area, so.
And there might be a chance that we could get that, embarrassed river ditched. They said at that time it needed to be ditched also, state river.
So probably wanna, if you got time to give them a call, at least get us on their radar with all you're doing and let them know. It's up to you.
On Friday, it's a, study session with West Babbit Development and the people that are sitting on it. And I like, I really don't know how to put it, that we have SEH investigate it. I don't know what other options. Does anybody have any suggestions what we might do to get an engineering outfit to come in and take a look at it?
Jim is right, all we can do is get an engineer and decide which way is that water. We've had problems there all the time. There used to be a ditch in front of the old bus garage. There was an actual ditch that went across there and then fed into the creek back there. Well, that was covered up. The culverts were taken out. So there's an avenue that the water couldn't go anymore. So, that was done years ago. So, this needs to get an engineer in there and have them see which way this water is flowing.
We need an elevation survey.
Right, and that's exactly what we need. We need to go from there. Now, the stuff behind our house, we talked about it, Tony and Dwayne, and we actually looked on a map. There is no waterway between these, no visible waterway left anymore. Over all these years, the marshes are now filling everything in. You used to be able to paddle from my house, back at the creek and paddle all the way out to Todd's house by a canoe. You can't do it anymore. It's filled in, and how are we gonna open it up? We have to get a hold of actually St. Louis County Waterways, because that's not really our property. It's the waterways is their problem. And, we tried talking to them quite a few years ago, and all they said was, well, we have higher priorities. So there we are again. It's one of those. But no, we need to check the engineers first, have them look at it and see if there is a fix, that we could do right now to take care of part of this problem. I had water up to my back garages. Thankfully, it didn't get into there. But the ditch behind mine is supposed to be the drainage ditch that goes out, was full of water right up to the top. I mean, there was no place for the water to go, so it just couldn't flow out.
In our conversation the other day, Glenn, didn't you say that Roger walked a cat? Waited till it froze up a little bit and then walked a cat probably from the bus garage through the next one, out through Hay Lake or through that marshy area in Hay Lake.
Well, he got as far as he could is what he did.
Yeah.
And, it was, the city took that on, and it really shouldn't have been the city that was doing it, but we did it.
Yeah.
We got the permission to go do that, but that has been so many years
Well, it
ago.
needs to be done again by somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's just plugged up. You go to the creek behind my house and look at that, that's all getting filled up again.
I know a lot of the money, or some, one of the words on the money, on this money from, that they're giving out to cities is about remediation, is about fixing problems that caught, so it doesn't happen every time. So we might qualify for something if we get the right people in the know. So
What I'd recommend is the council maybe take action to commission your engineering firm and specifically a civil engineer from that firm to at least do an initial evaluation of the situation there, and then give a report back to the council on their initial review of it. And then you can, from there, you can maybe get your arms around the scope of what the problem is. And then from there, you can, depending on financing and other things, you can commission additional work. But I think you need to have a civil engineer look at it and give you an initial assessment.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mitch. We can talk all night, but until we get an expert in to do the elevations, it's just talk. I think we're in agreement, something has to be done. And it's got to start with an engineer. It's simple.
All right, then I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to have Rebecca contact Bolig Engineering and see how they react to this problem that we're having. And get a civil engineer in.
I'll second that motion.
motion by Hoheisel, second by White, to have clerk treasurer Jagger contact Bolig Engineering, see if they have a civil engineer that can look at the problem on drainage of the west part of town.
Give us a report.
And come back with a report ASAP.
Yeah, for free.
Yes.
Hopefully.
We'll go on.
See what happens.
To show us some goodwill.
Any other discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on. G, approve National Night Out for August 6, 2024 at Fountain Hill Park. I am just going to read this for exposure again for the Valley Clergy Association. Dear Mayor Lossing and Valley City Council members, thank you for your leadership and commitment to bettering this community. We write we write the Babbitt
We write you in
Oh,
regards.
we write you in regards to the annual National Night Out. The Babbitt National Night Out last time was a great success. There was over 200 adults, teens, and children in attendance. The event is meant to increase awareness about police programs in communities such as drug prevention, town watch, neighborhood watch, and other anti-crime efforts. We would like to expound on the concept by enhancing awareness of all of our community service, including our churches. We would encourage involvement, support, and exposure of groups such as Lions Club, VFW, Police, EMT, Fire Department, and the Babbitt School. We respectfully request that you please grant permission and support for the National Night Out to be observed on Tuesday, August 6th, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in Fountain Hills Park. We believe this will be a great opportunity for our community to be strengthened, encouraged, and built up. If you have any questions or supportive ideas, please contact Pastor Ben Morgan. Please let me know if I can continue to work on this. Thank you for your consideration. We're praying for God's wisdom in all of your decisions. May God grant you blessings, wisdom, and grace. Pastor Ben Morgan, Babbitt and Barris Clergy Association. So I will make a motion that we give support to the National Night Out, which is happening on August 6th.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Lossing, second by White. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, Street Department hiring authority for summer help.
So again, I'm here asking for more assistance. I do have 2 summer kids working for me. They're working out. One of them starts volleyball here in August. Joe is going to be out for a couple months starting the first week of August. And with all the subsequent storm damage and flooding work that we've done this year, we're way behind the 8 ball. That's just all there is to it. There's a lot of stuff I want to get done. We did not use much for casual help last winter as we didn't have a lot of snow. So I have some money available to be able to pick somebody up to help us get through the end of summer, and maybe we can get some of this patching and crack sealing and some of these other projects done that I'd like to get done before winter comes.
So what do you need?
I need the authority to hire somebody. I think I'll start with the other rec applicants that we had from today and see if any of them are available, and then otherwise I'll have to advertise because we've hired every single person that applied to work this year, so.
And you want to hire as soon as possible?
I want to get them going like the first week of August anyway, at the latest. So, yeah, I mean, the sooner
You
is
need to
better.
know.
How many you need? 1 or 2?
You know what, if I had one person that can work full-time, that's gonna be enough. And I have for sure funding for all of that.
Do you have anybody in mind right now, Tony?
I know.
And this is strictly summer help, not a casual position.
Well, that's the intention, is it's summer help, but it kind of turns into a casual position because I doubt it's going to be a student, right? Because the summer position is different, I think. I don't know how the summer position works because it's not on the 67 shift thing on the union contract.
That's why I was asking.
Well, and so that's what I'm saying is we haven't used casual earlier this winter. So like usually we can get through December. There's not a ton of snow and a ton of excess work for us to have to pick up casual people for. So I don't foresee running into an issue with the 67 shifts if I hire a casual person.
So when is Joe gonna be out from when to when about, do you think?
I think he's out August 7th.
For 2 months, so
Yeah.
August and
It'll be early
September.
October. So it's, that's right in the time when we try and get all the crack sealing and all that done, so.
Well, I think
That's
you
40
should
shifts.
move ahead on your own, and I will move that we allow the street superintendent to do what he has to do to get some help.
Second. Motion by Lassie, second by Hoheisel.
That being said, some of the casual snowplow drivers and such that I have, they're busy this time of the year. They're not easy to get in. The better ones that I have that are more reliable operate a business this time of year, and make themselves.
There was a couple of good people on that list that we didn't take, so.
Yeah, so I'd like to review some of that and start there.
So motion by, Lassie, second by Hoheisel to have street department hire casual labor. So, discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Lassie,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hoheisel,
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes.
Thanks.
Municipal center exterior lighting. What's with that?
Didn't order enough. Miscounted.
It's lit up enough, I seen that on Facebook.
Well, you know what, Paul? That light shines right into my bathroom and right into my bedroom. I don't even need to turn my lights on in my house.
Perfect.
No, it's not good.
No, there's a lot of people asking if they can be faced towards the ground.
They have to be faced.
I mean,
They
so
are
that
shining.
should be part of this discussion if we need to give direction. Well, we have the electricians here, if they can do something to soften up the lighting a little bit.
Yeah, they've got to be directed down because there's,
I'm glad you're experiencing it because
Maybe
there
there's
was
a low,
quite a few
medium,
people
and
that
high.
are experiencing it.
Maybe there's a low, medium, and high.
Whatever the case. So Rebecca, could you have that conversation with them and see what they can do?
Yeah.
Should we make a change there a little bit?
yeah, when you got roosters crowing at 2:00 in the morning, it's a little bit too bright out.
Otherwise, I was thinking if we can't angle them anymore, I think we could get a film to go over the front of the
Yeah,
glass.
some
so
sort
that
of
it's not
deflector, yeah.
Shining out so much, like a fog.
Yeah, they are bright.
I'm sure they
believe me.
ran into it, they probably had some solutions, but that's probably a good idea too, so they misjudged by $4,800.
No,
No,
we
that was us.
misquoted the number of lights that we had. We were off 13 lights.
Oh, we were on.
We were off
Oh,
on the count. So the ones in the back haven't been done. And those are the ones that are, a couple of them are broke, so.
I think we should have with every other.
Oh, there's 13. Take some from the front, especially the one that's facing Jim.
I agree.
Put it back here.
Take
Get
it,
one back here,
Yeah.
put it up front.
every other one in the front and she'll still look
Yeah.
like a Christmas tree.
And we
That's
won't
what I
have to
say, we don't
spend
need, it doesn't need to be lit
$4,800.
up like it's New York. So, but light pollution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is too much. I think
It's a real thing.
we could
I
reduce
think we
it.
could have got by with every other one.
Yeah.
And still been safe, and I know you're always gonna have your vandals, and sometimes nothing's gonna stop them. But I don't know if that could still be done or not.
Well, you're probably gonna have to get them to come here and look at the possibility of, instead of buying new lights. I agree. I seen it
Take
at
one
night.
down,
It's
put it back
freaking
there.
insanely bright. If we did every other, where they could cap every and use those lights for the back, but it's still gonna cost us money to have them take them down,
Well,
and
they
cap
would,
them.
they would.
But I
we
think
might
that would be a
taking care
good
of two
idea.
problems at
Yeah,
once.
I think that's a good idea.
I personally, I drove by too, even if you did every other one, which would be sufficient, the ones that are left are still very bright and are gonna shine, it's still gonna be an issue even if you take them.
She'll still have to have them do,
Yeah.
see if they can't, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, but
There's-
yeah, it's like a runway out
Oh,
there.
yeah, yeah. It might
The
confuse a
aliens are
jetliner
coming to
going by at
Babbitt. They can see it
35,000
at
feet.
Mars.
Okay, so do you wanna make a motion on that?
No,
Yeah,
let's just direct staff to get a hold of them and see what they can come up with, whether or not we can cap them
Right,
safely and use the lights.
we don't need a
motion.
we don't need a
We don't need a
motion.
motion, we can get staff to do that quick and go
Okay,
from there.
I guess you got the gist of it, Rebecca, see if they can cap them off and move them some of the back.
If they can't, then they gotta come back and tell us,
All right,
we gotta pay for it.
maybe we could save $4,800.
Right.
That's probably what it would cost us to get them.
All right.
Make a motion to adjourn.
One more
Second.
second. I just want to say, really impressed with it. I think Tony and them guys did a good job out on the conservation club road. That needs to be noted. Just some kudos to a couple of department heads here that are, Caitlin's been doing a lot of work and doing a lot of different things. And I know that the arena coordination of just figuring this stuff out has been a lot. So keep working hard like you guys are. Thank you for all you guys are doing. So, and there's a motion on the table to adjourn. Second by Hoheisel. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we will move on to the Babbitt Economic Development Authority. Calling the Babbitt Economic Authority meeting to order at 6:30. Roll call.
Lassie.
Here.
White.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Hoheisel. Lossing.
Here. Public input. Public input. Any public input today? Hearing none. Approved minutes of regular meeting held on June 18th.
Move to approve.
Approved by second by Lassie, or motion by Lassie, second by Hoheisel. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Additions and deletions. No additions and deletions. Moving on, loan update. Still everybody up to date? Was that a yep or a no?
I'm looking at the thing
Hospital.
Sarah, that one is up to date. We have converted from Google Sheets to OneDrive, and we've had issues with our shared documents, but
here.
the hospital is up to date, yes.
Takes water.
The big one that they paid off, there was a clerical error in it, so she is submitting $100 more to finish off the last 500.
Oh, because it did, I'm looking at July and it's empty.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Unfinished business. Any unfinished business? Anybody got anything to talk about? Hearing none. New business. Any new business? Hearing no business. New business.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, Anderson.
Second by White.
Second by White. All in favor? Aye.
It's Babbitt Ely Tower Ambulance Service. That's what BETA
Oh,
stands
that it
for.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
wondering.
I just thought I would
was
let you
curious.
know that.
Yeah.
Matt texted me. I didn't see it because my phone's on mute.
Very good.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
These are garbage. I've seen these.
Appreciate that.
These